because we're going to continue with solutions with the next clip from David Knight. Mutual aid societies, parallel type of communication networks. So if they cyber polygon us and take away digital infrastructure, you can still communicate with people you need to talk to survive and thrive in the world. So let's go to this clip from David Knight, and let's check out what might be possible if we work together before it's too late. Let's start there.
We have the power. We have the mass of people. We can stop this if we're willing. Throughout this last year in America, we have seen the only places where people were not caught up and repressed with this tyranny are places where you had local officials who stood up for them. You need to start working right now with the people in your community. You need to start making connections with other individuals in your community to make sure that if they're going to set up a system where you're not going to be able to move, where you're not going to be able to have a job, where you're not going to be able to go to the grocery store to buy food, that you can grow your own food in cooperation with others. So you need to start setting up local co-ops where you're going to be able to barter and to work with other people. You need to start rebuilding your society, quite frankly, from the bottom up. So much of our society has been destroyed in so many different ways that I think this is going to be the basis on which we're going to rebuild our society. Local communities, local neighborhoods, local churches. As you start to get to know other people, it's the exact opposite. It is as counter as you can be with what they want to impose on us. What do they want to do? They want to isolate us individually. They want each of us physically separated from everybody else. They want each of us connected. If we make any connections to any other humans, we have to connect through their internet system or through their technology. So we have to reject that. We have to set up our own system that is going to operate outside of that. We have to rebuild our society from the bottom up. There are more of us than there are of them.
There are more of us than there are of them. What did them have? What do they have? They got funding, they got groups, they got coordination, they got communication, they got us using their infrastructure so they can spy on us and use and know our every move. Okay, well, that's where we're at. Where should we go? Should we continue in that pattern, or should we maybe become more autonomous, a little self-reliant, figure out some of these things that we can do on our own, that we don't need them as a middleman in a lot of different systems and use cases? That's the polite way to put it. So this is not a new problem that has faced humanity. It's just a new form, a new face on the same old problem. What Dave is talking about is true. You do need mutual aid. You do need to build groups and communities that cover specific topics, projects, handle specific problems, overcome these sort of things. And the question is, that's the what. He's telling you what to do. You got to do this. Now everyone's like, okay, so how do we do that? How? Does anyone know how to do this? Does anyone know how to form communities and negotiate agreements and create a covenant of rules that everyone gets along, and conflict resolution, all these different things that come up in group formation? The reason that a lot of well-meaning people who get together have it crumble under its own weight is because they don't understand like the administrative infrastructure and the rules that have to be in place for everyone to get along and play nicely and safely together without taking each other's freedom. About a year or so ago, we asked a guest speaker to come to talk to the Autonomy Season 4 students. Maybe it was Season 5. And it was a gentleman who had been a longtime member of the Tragedy and Hope online community, which I've run since 2009. His name's Stefan Verstappen, and he spoke to my students before they are graduates. There's some graduates there, but it's just mainly the student body for that season. And he articulated how to form groups, how to start intentional communities, mutual aid societies, check-in networks to make sure that the people that are close to you are being kept alive and well, and that they're not going without, when people drown, they usually aren't splashing and yelling. They've gone past that part, and now they just sink silently. And a lot of people with COVID can have symptoms come on and just, they can't think their way out of it, even think to communicate with friends. So now more than ever, a check-in society is appropriate for friends and family and loved ones, especially if things are on a lockdown. You can't go stop by and check in on people in person like maybe you used to. So Stefan talked to the class, and I said, this is brilliant. The topics that you're talking about are so timely and they're so needed. What kind of packaging do you have to get this out to people? And he said, I'm working on a book. I'm like, I hate to break it to you, but even if you finish the book, pretty much no one reads the book. said, Stefan, what you really could do is create a course, teach people about what's going on, make the book part of the course, finish the book while you teach the course. And then Stefan did that, and he just finished. He's bringing the course to the community. He's taught it to autonomy students and graduates. He has a new offering. I would like him to tell you about it, but he's not up this late. So he recorded the video. Let's go ahead and check out Stefan Verstappen's Guide to Forming Communities, and let's see what kind of ideas might play into this preservation and protection of freedom. Because what David Knight was talking about as far as our need to build these support systems, you don't want to wait till you're in the gulag to try to build your support system. Let's try to figure out how to stay free and get freer from here on out. But it's going to take some intentional communication. It's going to take some structured meetings. It's going to take some agendas and some goals and some overcoming of obstacles and other challenges. But it can be done. And Stefan's got a ton of experience doing this for like a quarter century at this point. And I think more people need to understand the things that he has to point out. So let's let him speak for himself for a few minutes.
Hello, my name is Stefan Verstappen. I'm a writer, researcher, and an old-time truth warrior. I will be teaching one of the most crucial online courses for our time, one that could save your life and possibly even our civilization. One of my areas of expertise is history, and specifically historical cycles. Several years ago, I took what I had learned and wrote the essay, Historical Cycles, Are We Doomed to Repeat the Past?, which was published in Gerald Salente's The Trends Journal. According to this theory, and judging the signs of our time, it is undeniable that Western civilization, as we know it, will collapse into chaos. Your chances of surviving these events on your own are slim. But hope is certainly not lost. The solutions are there. You just need to know how to apply them. I've been a survivalist for more than 50 years, and I've been searching for a solution and a way to survive what's coming. I again turned to the study of history to learn what previous generations had done to survive the collapse of their civilizations. The answer is one we have all heard before, and is not unique to my way of thinking. We need to form communities. Sounds simple, and it is, but also near impossible. You see, public education, government propaganda, mainstream and social media have all but destroyed our history, culture, and traditions, and any sense of community we had. We have been divided against each other by dozens of manufactured disputes and ideologies. Most people have never experienced being a part of a real community, nor could they ever hope to form a community on their own. This was done on purpose because the powers that be know the only obstacle to their plan of bringing down our society is if people united and formed parallel societies. And so I began writing the book, The Complete Guide to Forming Communities, to give people the ideas and tools they need to start forming their own communities, which is the basis for my online course. The course begins with a quick overview of historical cycles and what people in the past did to survive the age of chaos. I will tell you what they tried, what worked, and what failed. Then we go into the groundwork needed before we can even begin, such as how to use imagery, mythology, and archetypes to inspire people to become a part of the community, how to write a charter and mission statement, organizational structure and bylaws, and what legal forms we can take. I will then provide you with samples of the organizations you can form under 3 general categories. The first is financial communities, which will provide the assistance we will need when hyperinflation and currency collapse ravage our society. Here we cover a range of organizations we can form, from buying groups to lending circles. The next category is home and health, to assist us when medicine and healthcare are no longer available. We cover things like how to form homeschooling and food co-ops, how to source inexpensive health insurance, and how to fund our own medical clinics. Finally, I will discuss how to form a decentralized, autonomous, and self-reliant survivalist community that will provide members with everything they need to survive the collapse, including food, medical care, communications, and self-defense forces. We are at a turning point in history where the outcome is either freedom, prosperity, and happiness, or a dark age of slavery, misery, and death. We need to work together to overcome what can only be described as the forces of evil incarnate. Join me in my online course, link in the description below, and you will be among the first to download a free copy of my soon-to-be-released book with nearly 400 pages of detailed guides, case studies, and advice for forming your community. Each of us has a choice to make: to continue down the dark road we find ourselves on now, or to work together to not just survive, but to thrive in freedom and prosperity.
All right, I'm proud of that because everything you just saw, that's produced by Autonomy graduates working across the street at our marketing consulting company, Autonomy Unlimited. They did that website for Stefan. They helped him write the copy, and all the things that he said to you in that video, you probably wouldn't have read in his book. So him being a lecturer, a professor of his own arts of survival, with a live class, with interactivity and real-time dynamic feedback, is such a richer experience with the author than just reading his book. And his book got done because he took time in his schedule and invested every week in these sessions to make it, that he was able to actually finish his book, bring it to market, and you get a free copy of it when you sign up for the course. Now, people can have excuses. You don't think you need this? That's fine. You don't think you can afford this? Well, I beg to differ. He set the course price at a very modest level for the value. Like, any one mistake you would make in trying to set up a community is going to cost you more money than he's asking for his course. He also, because of his big heart, said, why not, because we're trying to get people to start communities, why not, instead of trying to sell it to one person, let's let a group of friends who have an intention to get some sort of group, a mutual aid society, a meetup, just some social interactions, let them take the class together. So he lets groups of friends buy it, share it amongst themselves, take it together, have a study buddy system. He's setting it up for success. And the people who are the early adopters, they're going to get to take advantage of, like, not only the good price, but the let your friends in and like split the price between you. Might cost 3 or 4 people $100 each. That is something everyone as an individual can afford. If you're an adult, upwardly productive person who knows what their offer is to society, that's no big deal. And even if you're struggling and you're getting handouts from the government, that's still not a big deal to find a couple friends and take this course and get it under your belt, because you will use this information in your future.